family, Iridium. Hope you're doing all right today. So before I start this album review, I just want to do a shameless plug for my live stream tonight, 8:30 p.m. UK time. That's obviously if you're watching this right now on the day we do the live stream on the 15th of May. We talk about the best albums of 1987, joined as usual by the crew, plus Tony Harnell from TNT, or ex-TNT, is going to be on talking about Tell No Tales, their album they released that year. So make sure you tune in. Tony be there right from the beginning. Hope to see you there. So, album review time. Dave Byrne, Nothing Is As It Seems. So this got sent to me by the record company. So thank you for that. It's out on June the 1st. So what we have here is Dave Byrne. If anyone doesn't know, he was with the Paul Raymond project. And Paul Raymond worked with some great bands, UFO, Wasted, Michael Schenker Group. And Dave Byrne was the guitarist for that band for some time. And he's teamed up with a great vocalist called Lee Small. Lionheart, Shy. He's worked with Shy as well. A vocalist with a great soulful voice, great pedigree there. So he's picked an awesome singer to sing on this solo album. This is actually the first solo album from Dave Byrne to feature vocals, and this is his 17th solo album. So obviously, guitarist releasing a solo album sometimes can be a little bit indulgent. You know, I'm sure, the instrumental albums for me wouldn't be something I would go and listen to, because that's just me. If you're a guitarist in a band, I'm sure you can go back and listen to that. But on this one, first time with vocals, and he's chosen a great vocalist, like I said, in Lee Small. 12 tracks we've got here, and we're talking classic rock mainly, that sort of sound, with some definitely different sounds all the way through the album. You do get 2 instrumentals on this album, which I'll speak about, and 10 songs proper with vocals. Songs are quite long, some of them as well. So what you get is, even if you're not into the instrumentals like I'm not, you've got 10 great songs as well with Lee Small's brilliant vocals. Let me just say though, the guitaring is absolutely brilliant. This is what you expect from someone who's releasing a solo album. Very intricate playing, leading off from some really great heavy riffs, but leading off into some real intricate guitar playing. So if you like, this is very melodic as well. So you've got a lot of melody in the songs, but you've also got some great guitar playing throughout. This is one for guitar players and people that are into their sort of classic 80s sort of style rock, classic rock. So let's just get on to the tracks themselves. So a great opener, and you've got some lengthy songs in here, but they do come and go quickly. It's not like they overstay their welcome. They're like meant to be that way. You've got some like big instrumental passages within songs. Obviously, like I said, it's a solo project from a guitarist, so you're going to expect things like that sometimes. So what I noticed about this as well, and it's only sent to me through a link. So production wise, this album sounds really big. Even though it's through a link, I expect when the actual album comes out, you even get a fuller sound. But I did notice straight away, there's like right at the beginning of Rite of Passage, it's almost like the needle's got stuck. You think there's something wrong, so I've pressed the first song on, and I thought there's something wrong with my link, and it's like a stuttering, almost like a needle stuck. And then it just kicks off with an absolutely brilliant heavy riff. And the first thing I noticed is the production and the drum sound. The drums sound huge, especially on this first song. And then Lee Small's vocals kicks in. He's a brilliant vocalist. I loved his work he done with Shy. He done one album with Shy, and it was one of their best albums. It was a little bit heavier, a little bit more, less AOR, more guitar, and I loved it. And his work with Lionheart is good as well. Very, like I said, intricate guitar playing. You notice this from the kickoff with this song. There's some brilliant lead-offs coming off of the riffs. I do like that when a guitarist not just playing rhythm, he can come off and just do little intricate bits of playing. This song, like I like a lot of rock and metal songs, has a real Eastern feel to the melodies, especially in the chorus. I like that Eastern feel or Egyptian-y sort of feel through songs in metal and rock. Amazing solo, just how you expect from a solo album from a guitarist in this one. Melodic, but almost classical feel. Really cool. Next up is a good track, Darkest Hour, clean guitar with strings, like a bit classical strings, and Lee Small's absolutely amazing vocals, great tone he's got, and then the song really kicks off about the 1.5 minute mark into a very cool, like dampened sort of riffing going on. Nice bluesy solo. He's sort of like a lot of the time, this guitarist Dave Byrne, he will break off into bluesy bits and rock bits. And by the way, it's only these two guys on this album, as far as I can see. They're doing all the instruments, so it's just these two guys doing everything. I think Dave Byrne's doing the bass, the drums and the keys, and Lee Small's doing the vocals, obviously, and some keys as well, I believe. So, great job they're both doing. Obviously, multi-instrumentalists. So, next up, we have another good song, Into the Light. And this is the first ballad we get. There's quite a few ballads on this. I like a ballad, so that's a good thing. After a clean guitar with vocals, a real sort of heavy classic rock ballad. This is Into the Light. Great track. And then we get another song called Labyrinth. It's sort of a ballad as well, but it's a 9-minute song. Lots of twists and turns in this, piano beginning, then into a classic rock type ballad again with piano and riffing. Very epic sounding. It builds and builds with strings, this one. Lots of emotion. So it's a great song, Labyrinth. The first instrumental comes next. This isn't for me. This is a real, I can imagine this is something you would probably get on his instrumental albums. Just basically loads of technical playing. Not something for me. Hit the Ground Running, it's called. So not for me, but I like some instrumentals. But, sometimes when a guitarist has a solo album, it's just him breaking off a noodling and doing all sorts of fancy stuff. Not for me. Next up is Before You Cry, into another ballad, acoustic guitar this time. Love acoustic guitar. Then piano and so soulful, Lee Small's vocals. Absolutely great job he does on this. Very nice melodic solo. Twin lead, obviously doing both. Again, strings coming in, making the song build and become epic. Next up we have a song called Made of Stone. More of a straightforward rocker really. Nice groove throughout the song. Not one of my favourite songs. Passing Time comes next. Another ballad. So like I said, you get quite a few ballads on this. But I'm a ballad man. I love them. And a lot of the time they're building into big songs. This is an acoustic one though. So about halfway through, electric guitar comes in. It does build again, just like the other ones. But it's really cool how the acoustic guitar is coming in with the rhythm guitar on this, with the electric guitar. Very, very good song. Next up is Kick You Upside Down. It's a great riff running through the song. Really cool groove. More of a straightforward rocker. Not one of my favourites though, this Kick You Upside Down, but it's got a good groove to it. Next up we have Always. Now, don't like this song. The album has got some ups and downs. But you're talking about 8 or 9 really good tracks on this. A couple of instrumentals, few ballads. Always this one, not for me. It's very sort of, it's a clean guitar mostly through the song with the occasional electric guitar. It reminds me of something that maybe, Thin Lizzy would have broken off with like years ago when they first started. But just, this is not rock at all, this one. It's just acoustic guitar. So not for me, Always. Next up we have Understand. This has got a really cool gallop in this. This is quite a long song, 8.5 minutes. It's a bit progressive. There's some odd time signatures here and there. Long guitar solo, like, just massive guitar solo part in the middle section. I think it's a little bit disjointed, that song itself. In the middle of all the ballads and that, and then you get sort of a real progressive sort of song, but it's got a really cool gallop in the riffs in that one. And then it ends with an instrumental. And it ends with an instrumental called Boat to Samarkand. So this is sort of like in the sort of Parisian walkways type style. So it's like that lead guitar, slow, sort of ballady, sort of, you know, sort of guitar heroic type thing. Again, instrumentals, not for me really. So there's quite a few ups and downs with this, but what you get, if you even if you strip those instrumentals off, and what that does, that gives you, you know, that gives you guys who are in bands or guitarists, budding guitarists, it gives you something to really like listen. He's a great guitarist, this guy. So even the instrumentals, you'll be happy with those. But where I'm not, and there's like that one song Always is a bit, you know, is a poor song for me. But if you take them out in the instrumentals, you still got like a full-length album with some great tunes on it. So you sort of packed up this album. I don't know how long the album is. It's got to be over an hour long. So you still get plenty of songs with that melodic classic rock, but with some tag-ons on the end. You know, if you trim those off, if you trim those instrumentals off and you trim that song Always, and maybe the one called Understand, which is the 8.5-minute progressive one, you'd still have a 40-minute album, which would be a great album. So sometimes albums can be too long. This one is one of those, you know, cases, I think, but you can always, you know, trim that fat off, and I think you would have a great album in what's left. Some people are into those instrumentals. This is what some solo albums are about, especially guitarists, like I said before. You know, sometimes, a lot of the time, it's about the song on these tracks. So about 8 tracks here are just thinking about the songs themselves, the songwriting, and then you've got a few, like I said, instrumentals, a bit of too much experimentation. You know, there's a few ups and downs. So I want a rock album. You know, it starts off with a rock album, you get a couple of little fiddly bits and a couple of things that are not actually rock. So they're not for me, but they might be for you guys. So, but amazing guitarist, amazing vocals by Lee Small. 75% of this album is great. Then you've got the instrumentals and a couple of tracks I'm not too keen on. There you go. So this is it. Out June the 1st. So Lee Small's vocals are absolutely brilliant. Dave Byrne's guitaring is absolutely fantastic. The two together make some really cool songs. So there you go. Recommend this album. Get it June the 1st. I'll see you next time.